you have to keep your eyes open because you never know when Jesus is going to show up. Giving you time to get it.
You can't read it. Tell her what it says. It's hard to read.
The water section in the grocery store. It says water. But it's wine. Jesus was here. Okay? Okay. So, one of the things about this Bible verse where Jesus said, very truly, I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do works that I do, and in fact, will do greater works than these, because I'm going to the Father. I'm out of here, it's up to you. Okay? And one of the challenges with that, and I mentioned it last week, was that we think we've got to turn water into wine, we've got to, raise the dead, we've got to heal the sick, whatever. And those are all things that Jesus did, and I believe we can all do those too, but we don't have to start there. Okay? So today's message is going to focus on the two of the spiritual practices that he did that we have no excuse for not doing. And those two spiritual practices are vision, catching a vision, and faith. So this message is intended to support us in using vision to see what is possible beyond appearances, to see what is possible, to catch that vision from our divinity rather than from our ego, okay? And to not only to see what's possible, but then to make sure that we practice our faith to bring forth all possibilities. And the human condition is that we believe that vision and faith are things we have to obtain. And the spiritual solution is knowing that vision and faith are things we have to practice. We already have them. We just have to practice them. So Jesus had unwavering faith in his vision, and his faith moved his feet. And his vision was an idea of what life is supposed to be, what life could be. And that vision was a vision of the kingdom of heaven. And in Unity, we do not believe that heaven is a place we go to after we leave this earthly plane. Rather, we believe that heaven is a state of consciousness and can be obtained right here on earth. And the same goes true for hell, by the way. Just in case you don't know. We can be there now. As Ram Dass said, be here now. Well, we have a choice. We can experience heaven or hell right now. So, I just wondered, I was wondering about myself, and I asked you, what would your life be like if you could step into the vision that Jesus had of you, that you could do greater things than he? What would your life be like if you really believed that, and if you had the faith that Jesus had in you? Okay? You say, well, I wasn't around back then. He didn't know me. But, his message is true today. So he still has faith in each and every one of us. So what would it be like? What would be different about your life? Yes, Jerry?
We could get out of our comfort zone and live in a bigger world.
We could get out of our comfort zone and live in a bigger world in a bigger way. Right?
Cool.
Yeah. Anybody else? What would your life be like? All these shy people. Yeah, well, you would have, I would have unwavering faith in the divine and in myself. I would have a deep sense of well-being, and I call that joy. And I always say that joy is what faith feels like, because faith is knowing that all is well. And I would think I would experience more excitement, enthusiasm, and trust if I could step into the vision that Jesus had for me and for the world, and his faith in me. So he had unwavering faith in this vision of the kingdom of heaven. He said in Matthew 4, verse 17, "The kingdom of heaven is at hand." He didn't say, if you're good, do all the right things when you die. He said the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And what he meant was right here and right now. Not later on. Right here, right now, the kingdom of heaven is. It's ours to receive it. It's ours to step into it. As I said before, heaven is a state of consciousness. It's a consciousness of oneness where we don't see separation. We know our oneness with everything and everyone. It's a state of knowing our wholeness, that we are whole and complete. Maybe not humanly, but certainly spiritually. We are whole and complete. And it's that spirit of us that brings the human of us up to a higher level. The kingdom of heaven is experienced when we completely, or know that we are completely accepted for who we are. We experience the kingdom of heaven when I know that I'm completely accepted. And that we are entitled to God's inheritance. Elsewhere in the Bible, in Luke, it says, it is, do not be afraid, for it is God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. It is God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. But we have to receive it. We have to accept it. We have to say yes to it. So, do you know without a doubt that you are completely accepted just as you are? Do you know that? I'd like to see more heads nodding. Okay. Do you know that you are entitled to God's abundance? Yes. Okay. Not very much enthusiasm this morning. And do you believe Jesus' words? Do not be afraid, for it is God's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Yes. Let's have an enthusiasm to all three of those questions.
Yes.
All right. Okay. He believed his vision also was a more compassionate, generous, inclusive, and consciously connected world. I added the word consciously because we say a more connected world. Well, we are. But we have to be more conscious of it. And his vision was for you and me to know who we are, to know our divinity, to know the power within us and our potential for greatness. And he saw and called forth the best that we can be. And he communicated his vision, guess where? In everything he thought, in everything he said, in everything he did. And you're right, Christine, he also communicates it to us through our hearts. So he didn't just do it sometimes, right? And he made everything he did take him in the direction of his vision, okay, of the kingdom of heaven here on earth. And in following the vision, guess what? He didn't play it safe, right? This isn't safe, all right? He did whatever it took. That's the other thing we're worried about. If we do all the things that he did, we're going to be crucified. All right, well, how many of you are crucified already? You have crucifixion experiences? All right, so that excuse is out. He was aware of the peril that he was putting himself in, placing himself in. And he wasn't the only one. You think of Gandhi, you think of Martin Luther King Jr. They knew they were putting themselves in peril. But that didn't stop them from following their dream and their vision. And he looked at everything with divine eyes. You could say the eyes of God. He didn't just see with his human eyes. He was able to see beyond appearances. So he didn't let the appearance of illness or anything get in his way. He saw beyond it. And then we have to say, okay, he had this great vision, then what about his faith? Well, first of all, let's talk about faith. Faith is an expectation of something, that something will happen, right? That something will turn out a certain way. Felicia uses the example of when we go into the bathroom in the morning, we turn on the faucet, what do we expect? Water. Well, hot water or cold water, depending on which faucet we turned on, but we expect there to be water. And so he had that expectation, that faith of how things could be. And in Hebrews, the definition of faith is one of my favorites. It says the assurance, and in unity we say the substance of things hoped for. The conviction of things not seen. So again, we have to get to that idea of, we're not, what is it, Wayne Dyer's book, you'll see it, you'll believe it when you see it, rather than you'll see it when you believe it. We want to, when we believe it, we'll actually see it. We have to, get that straight, like I just didn't. Okay. And it's not a matter of whether or not we have faith. People say, I don't have faith. Well, that's just not true. Faith is one of our 12 powers. And it's represented by Peter. And it is an inherent part of us. We were born with enough faith, okay? But what we have to do, just as Jesus called the 12 disciples forth, the Jesus in you and me has to call forth our 12 disciples. And we have to call forth Peter. We have to call forth our faith and develop it. Maybe it needs developing, but we've got it. And then send it out into the world to do its work. And so it's not a matter of whether or not we have enough faith. It's a matter of where we place our faith. So where do you place your faith? If you have a challenge in your life, is your faith in the challenge or in overcoming it? Okay, there's a difference. And we have to focus on what we want. Like Jesus made everything he did go in the direction of his vision. And so I thought about skidding. So of course I Googled it. And I found this thing that said, Skidding 101. Steer into the direction you want to go. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Steer in the direction of where you want to go. And I guess a lot of times if you're in a car and there's almost an accident, you're looking at where you don't want to go. But we want to focus on where we want to go. And it says, as you take your foot off the brake and accelerator pedals, look in the direction you want to travel. This is really important. Have you ever looked at something as you were riding your bike and started accidentally steering in that direction? That's exactly what will happen. So make sure you're looking in the direction you want to go. And I think that is so important that we steer our faith in the direction we want to go. And one of the things that Felicia points out in her book is that faith reflects how we see God and our relationship to God. So, do you have faith in a generous, loving God, or do you have faith in a harsh, punishing God? I told y'all last week about someone called me one day and was really upset and ranting and raving about God doing this and God doing that, and I said, she said, what do you suggest? And I said, I think you need to get a new God. That one would not work for me. Okay? So what do we believe about God? Because that's what we're putting our faith in. Albert Einstein said something. Who knows what Albert Einstein said in this regard? The most important decision we make is whether we believe in and whether we believe we live in a friendly or hostile universe. Do we believe in a friendly or hostile God? God is love, the shortest line, I think. No, Jesus wept is the shortest line in the Bible, but God is love is right up there. 3 words. that God is love, period. God is love. Not some human, giant human up there with all of our human character defects. And then some guy named Diamond Mike Wasson said, the universe is a giant mirror. It simply reflects how we perceive ourselves. Say that again. Take a deep breath. The universe is a giant mirror. It simply reflects how we perceive ourselves. And so I rewrote it, of course. And I said, faith is a mirror. It simply reflects what we have faith in. Okay? And so be aware of what you expect from the God of your understanding. And observe how that plays out in your life. Because probably what you expect is what you get. Now, Jesus' faith. He had faith that the power and abundance of God is always present. Not sometimes, not once in a while, but that the power and presence of God and the abundance of God is always present all the time. And he knew that the flow of God is as reliable as water from the faucet. So what about you? Do you have faith that the power and presence of God is always present? He had faith in people, in their goodness, their potential, their wholeness. Do you? Are you practicing the gentle art of blessing? No matter what people are doing, can you see beyond that and call forth and bless who they truly are? He lived his faith and shifted the outer by seeing beyond appearances. Do you? Are you able to see beyond appearances? And he knew his oneness with God. He knew the essence of who and what he was. And we have to ask ourselves, do I believe that? Do I know my oneness, my wholeness? He showed us that we can change things by changing where we place our attention, which changes our expectations. So again, where do we place our attention? Jesus demonstrated the power of faith in action. Do we pray and move our feet? Or do we pray and then start talking about how bad things are? So we spend a couple of seconds praying and then turn it around and roll around in the toil and turmoil. And he knew the statement, and he said, it is not I, it's not me, Jesus, but the Father, the Christ, the Buddha, within who does the work. It is my divinity, it is my spirit that does the work. Okay? So how do we start to do this? How do we start to do what Jesus did and even greater things? And of course, the answer is always prayer and meditation. That's our first step. But we have to put feet, right, on that prayer and meditation. In Centers for Spiritual Living, they say, they call prayer treatments. And they say, treat and move your feet. Okay? So that's what we have to do, pray and move our feet. And so there's some things that can help you with that. In addition to your formal time on your cushion or your chair, wherever you do your spiritual practice, there's some activities at the end of each chapter of the book that take us beyond abstract ideas to concrete action. In other words, where the rubber meets the road, some actual practical things you can do. And then be aware if you're in you've got a situation in your life, and be aware of what you expect to happen. What do you expect to happen? Do you expect the worst or the best? And if it's not the best, then change your perception. I always say we're responsible for our second thought and our first action, because that first thought just happens. That old thought just happens. It's up to us to have a new thought. And then imagine having the level of faith that Jesus had. That old, what would Jesus do, what would Jesus do? Because there's we have these aspects of everybody, all the people in the Bible, all the places, are parts of us. So what would Jesus in you do in this situation? And don't limit God. With God, all things are possible. And I always love to quote from the Prayer of Jabez, Bruce Wilkerson's mentor, who said, "Dare to dream so grand that failure is guaranteed unless God steps in." Okay? So don't limit this universal, all-powerful, all-present love that is wants to give us. It is its good pleasure to give us the kingdom. And when you find yourself focusing on the appearance of scarcity or lack, pivot to abundance and prosperity. Shift from believing the worst to knowing the best. So I celebrate that we go forth from this time together, having faith in a loving, all-providing universe. And as a result, we catch God's vision and see beyond bleak circumstances and insurmountable odds. And let's begin doing that right now in a sacred time of shared prayer. And I invite us to just begin to relax the body. Allow the mind to quiet. Allow the heart to open. And then just allow to come to mind a challenge in your life. Be aware of the thoughts and feelings you have about this challenge. Those first thoughts. And then just locate in your body where you feel that challenge and those feelings and thoughts. Where is it in your body? Be aware of the sensations created when you think of this challenge. And then answer these questions silently. It's called the Sedona method. Can I accept what I'm thinking and feeling about this challenge? Could I entertain the possibility that I could give these thoughts and feelings, and indeed this entire experience to God, to love? Would I give them to love? And if so, when? And then just take a deep breath. And ask yourself these questions again silently. What am I feeling about this challenge? Can I accept that I'm feeling what I'm feeling? Could I give these feelings to love? Would I give these feelings to love? And when? There's no right or wrong answers. Take another deep breath. And one more time, ask these questions and answer them silently. What am I feeling right now? Can I accept what I'm feeling? Could I give these feelings to love? Would I give these feelings to love? And if so, when? And again, take a deep breath. And now bring your attention to your third eye, between your eyebrows. And ask love for a vision. Ask it to reveal its wisdom to you regarding this challenge in the silence. What is love's vision for you in this challenge? And listen in the silence. As we gently bring our attention back to this place, this time, silently say, thank you, divine love, for the vision to see what is possible, and for the faith to bring forth all possibilities. Thank you, thank you, thank you, that it is so, so it is, and so I am.